All right. What is it?
Thiago, this guy who joined, homie, this guy who joined Greenspoon, he was texting me. I didn't know who he was. He says he was at your wedding, your parents' wedding. I said, then you must have been at mine as well.
Yeah, well, I didn't know who you were, parents.
Yeah, I know. And then I told him I'm your brother.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. That is pretty funny. You can't say that you can't see we look the same, or you don't have your glasses on.
You should know when I went.
This was
when I went to the wedding. When I went to the wedding, the state patrol picked me and Betty Tenenbaum up, took us to the bus station. Good thing they didn't check our pockets.
Yeah. Sheesh.
Well, we made it to the wedding.
The old Sheyoshiv days.
Yeah, baby.
That's pretty funny.
There's a tzaddik over there. Look at him.
Yeah. All right, we ready to start?
Yeah.
Okay, we're 4 lines down from the top on Nun Aleph and Amud. Something going on tonight where everybody is?
I mean, we're not there, so we wouldn't know.
They heard I'm coming.
Yeah, you're asking the uninvited crowd.
Yeah, exactly. You're
guess
asking
so,
the people.
right?
Yeah. You're asking the diehards.
There you go. That's true. That is the anti-socials, did you mean, or you meant the diehards?
You know, the nice way of saying either one.
Okay.
I don't want to speak for anybody else.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Well, Rav Sheshes. So again, so what this is tonight it's the opposite. Tonight the first Amud is hard. Actually, only the first few lines is hard because it's a continuation of yesterday, and then it gets much easier. So what the Gemara has been discussing is what's the story with the korban, the par of the kohen gadol on Yom Kippur. Is that for a yachid, or is that a korban yachid or is it a korban tzibur? So if it's a korban yachid, then you can do tumah on it and other things. But if it's a korban tzibur, then not, right? That's right. And how did we get involved with it? Way back a lot ago, that we wanted to passel it because it was a korban that its owner died. So if a korban chatos that its owner dies, the korban becomes passel. So then the new kohen gadol, meaning again, if the kohen gadol dies and another kohen gadol takes him over, does he have to bring his own par? So we wanted to say, well, if it's a chatos that the owner dies, so then the animal that's meant to be brought is what do you call it? It becomes puzzle. So that should be the same thing here, right? So and we said no, it's a korban tzibur, it's not a korban yachid. So that's what we're handling back and forth. So then Rav Sheshes. Okay, so let's start. So four lines down. Rav Sheshes, right? So Rav Sheshes said before that it's talking about the power of the brisa is talking about the kohen gadol. So the mukim lo be'eloi shel Aaron, and then he said that the brisa is talking about the different korban of Yom Kippur. It's talking about the ayil that Aaron, right? It's talking about the ayil of the korban, the musaf that's brought on Yom Kippur. So why does he say that that's what it's talking about? Look, maybe Pesach. Why can he say it's talking about the korban Pesach? That's daicha shabbos. Pesach tumah. It's daicha shabbos. It's daicha tumah. But it's a tmura the korban yachid who, and it makes a tmura. Why? Because it's a korban yachid, right? We said also korban a tmura is where you can swap out animals is only allowed if it's a korban yachid. So why does he have to go and say it's talking about the Eilo Shel Aaron? Why can't he just say it's talking about a korban Pesach? Right? And that's what the Bryce is talking about. So when I answers, Kasavar ain't shert in a Pesach ala yachid, because he has a shita, he holds, which we had way back in Pesachim, that you're not allowed to shech a korban Pesach for one person. A korban Pesach needs to have a minimum of 2 people in the korban. They can, if it's only one person on a korban, then the korban Pesach is no good. So Mamela, you can't call a korban Pesach a korban yachid. It's got to be called a korban tzibur. Second word says, okay, but no Pesach sheni. So why don't we say that's talking about Pesach sheni?
Yaakov.
Yeah.
It says two people. That means two non-related people, but a husband and a wife, that's already two people.
I'm not sure. I don't know, Taka. Is a husband and wife considered one or two?
I don't know.
I don't know.
My mom has just thought of it this second. I don't know.
I'm not sure. I think we asked it by Pesachim too, but we weren't. Versteht sich, I don't remember.
I mean,
But,
each one needs to eat their own kazayas, so they wouldn't they,
Right.
right? So wouldn't they be
Right.
considered two people?
Yeah, but I'm saying it's the same account. It's coming from the same account. No.
Yeah, but don't we care about kazasim?
Well, they're not going to eat all the kazesim anyway. Just two people on one sheet.
No, but one. Yeah, I
He
know.
will.
Okay.
He'll have a good time. The man will.
I mean,
certainly
it depends
have a
how
good time.
long you let him sit there, and if he could have a beer
Till chatzos, till
or a
chatzos.
glass of wine.
Yeah, right. And a chanami. So I don't know. I don't know if it's considered two or one. But anyway, so then the Gemara says, okay, but no pesach sheni. Pesach sheni can be for one person. Pesach sheni doesn't have to be multiple people. So the Gemara says, well, that can't be because mi dachet tumah is pesach sheni dachet tumah. Pesach sheni is not dachet tumah. Meaning there's a sheet. Rashi says there is a shita that says, which we're going to get to on the bottom of the Amud, that pesach sheni is not dachet tumah. So since it's not dachet tumah, it doesn't fit into the brisa because the brisa said we're talking about a korban that is dachet tumah. So that wouldn't fit. Fine. So Amar le. Now back to going. We said that what did we say yesterday? That the brisa. What was the brisa again? Right. So we said that the Gemara had asked yesterday that the kohen, when he's being mechaper for himself and for the other kohanim, is that considered a korban yachid or a korban tzibur? Meaning, did we say that the other kohanim are part of his korban, or are the kohanim independent and they're just added on? So that was the question. So Amar le Rav Huna Brei Rav Yeshua le Rava, the Tana, right? The Tana Mishna Pesach the Kari le korban yachid. Why is Pesach different? Like why that Pesach is called a korban yachid? U'Mishna Chagiga the Kari le korban tzibur. The Chagiga is called a korban tzibur. Chagiga was had to be brought on Pesach on the Shalosh Regalim, Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot. You had to bring the korban Chagiga. So how come the korban Chagiga is called a korban tzibur and the korban Pesach is called a korban yachid? If you're saying because the korban Chagiga comes when knufya means when there's a lot of people, because on the Shalosh Regalim there's a lot of people in Yerushalayim. Pesach nami yasi b'knufya. The korban Pesach also it comes when there's a lot of people. So why are you calling one a korban tzibur? Why are you calling one a korban yachid? So Gemara says no, because Ika Pesach sheni the lo yasi b'knufya, because there's Pesach sheni which does not come when there's a lot of people, right?
Didn't we question whether or not he's paying for it by himself, which would determine whether it's a korban tzibur or korban yachid? The kohen is paying. The kohen gadol is paying for it by himself.
So the kohen gadol is right. The kohen gadol definitely pays from himself.
So didn't we? Yeah, I know. Didn't we determine that was a factor in whether and how to classify it?
Well, we're gonna see that on the base. Well, let's wait till on the base. Because on the base, we're gonna discuss it.
Because we spoke about it yesterday.
Yeah, we were clearing about what the pshat was.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have to see on the base. That the Gemara on the base it'll clarify. Yeah. So very good. So Ika Pesach Sheni the lo yasi b'knufya. No, there's Pesach Sheni. So since a korban Pesach includes a Pesach Sheni, so Memela, it doesn't come with a lot of people. Pesach Sheni is not nearly as many people in the Beis HaMikdash as there is by Pesach Rishon. So Memela, it's not it's called the korban yachid. So Amalei Im Kain, Yei Doiches a Shabbos Vesa Tumah. If that's the case, then Pesach Sheni should be Doiches Shabbos and Tumah. Meaning, if it's included in Pesach, so then why isn't it Taka Doicha? Pesach Sheni falls out on Shabbos. Why isn't it Doicha Shabbos? And if somebody's tummy of Pesach Sheni, why isn't it Doicha? So he says, Amarle, in command Amar Dachi. Yes, I go with the Mishnah is going with the Shita that says that Pesach Sheni is Doicha Shabbos and is Doicha Tumah. The Tanya, because we learned in the Brisa, Pesach Sheni Doicha Shabbos, Peina Doicha Tumah. Pesach Sheni is Doicha Shabbos and it's not Doicha Tumah. If you Doimer after Doicha Tumah, it's even Doicha Tumah. So it's Doicha. So according to everybody, pesach sheni is daicha Shabbos. It's just a Machlokes whether it's daicha tumah. Okay, what's the pshat in the Machlokes? My timer, the Tanakama. Why does the Tanakama hold that it's daicha Shabbos and not daicha tumah? So he says interesting svara. Amar loch, he's going to tell you mipnei tumah dechisu v'yasa b'tumah. Right? You pushed. Why are you bringing the pesach sheni? Because you were tamei on pesach rishon. Right? So then you're yasu b'tumah. You're going to go do it b'tumah again. The whole reason why you're only doing it on pesach sheni is because you were tamei with pesach rishon. So now, what would make any sense to go do the tumah on pesach, do it b'tumah pesach sheni?
At this point, you don't have a choice.
Oh, so that's really what Rabbi Yehuda seems to say, right? That's what the next shita seems to say, right? It seems like the Tanakam is saying the whole you were potter really from the Pesach Rishon because you were tummy. So we give you a second chance. So the second chance you shouldn't take that either because Lamaisa you're potter because you were tummy. Right? That's the way I think I understand it. That once we were pushing you off from tumah, so let's push you off from the second time too. We gave you one chance, and if you don't meet both chances, okay, so then you don't do it. Right? Yeah. So then
You'll definitely be more careful next year.
I would hope so. Yeah.
No, but
What's the problem?
no, I'm just saying what Shmuel saying. That's the first thing you would say. But let's say the guy he's a solar guy who's on hakodashim or he's a surgeon or whatever. He never meets up with a lot of dead people, so he's Chalili's Chayev Chorus. So maybe you let him bring it Batumah when he doesn't have any more choice but pesach sheni. I mean, he's a guy's on hakodashim. He's a very
that's what I said the first thing. I said at this point,
I know.
You don't have a choice.
I know.
Right.
The other choice is that he doesn't do it this year.
Lav Dafka, the guy, he's a good guy. He runs a hakodashim.
Yeah, I hear. I don't know what that would be. Okay, but
See,
maybe
we're not talking about one individual who became tumah. We're talking about a klal. No,
I think we're talking about either one.
that is doicha. That tumah is doicha. If a person becomes tumah is doicha. I thought we said stam. It's doicha if the whole tzibur is tumah. If right of the tzibur that needs to bring the korban is tumah. I don't think it means that an individual could be doicha tumah. If you're tumah, you can't bring a korban.
No.
Artsco brings that as says Tosfos. That's Tosfos.
No, I'm just saying.
Well,
I thought the Gemara in Pesachim. The Gemara in Pesachim only had the tzad that you could bring a korban at bituma if the whole tzibur is tumah. I don't think they ever had a tzad that a korban could be brought bituma. When the Mishna said the korban could be brought bituma, it means an individual could bring a korban bituma.
I think for pesach sheni.
Why? Why should you be allowed to bring a korban bituma? All Rabbi Yehuda is saying is that it's like pesach, that it's similar to the korban pesach.
So you that
would be doicha also.
Right. So hence that large toisus.
I thought that's what we said in Pesachim.
Yeah, listen, you could have thought all you said because if you'd be like me, you would have forgotten Pesachim. You have no issue. The problem is that you remember.
I'll try to forget it next time.
Don't do it on purpose, though. That we said you're over on an Issa.
The problem with the tzibur is you run into problems. If the tzibur was tamei, you would have brought the korban pesach rishon. You never really get to a situation where korban pesach sheni.
No, we did have a case. Now you're Akiva.
Right.
There was
tamei
a case.
Tamei sheretz.
No, there was something else. No,
I think it was just sheretz.
I don't remember.
Sheretz isn't doicha pesach rishon.
I don't remember exactly.
By Lomini Gora, they bring a Gemara in Sukkah that 3 reasons why they came. So it doesn't have to be a whole tzibah. It could be a mess mitzvah. It doesn't mean that the whole tzibah caught them. There's one of the 3 reasons that they came. With Lomini Gora was mess mitzvah, one was Atzmus Yosef, and one was Nadav and Avihu. Those are the 3 reasons on Sukkah Chof Hey. So mess mitzvah doesn't mean with a whole group of people. Could be just one guy came.
Right.
Yeah, but they weren't doicha pesach sheni.
I don't know.
That's what they made, pesach sheni. That was the whole story.
But I don't. Is there ever a tzad that an individual could bring a korban b'tumah? We never had a tzad that korban pesach rishon.
Taisus as the tzad because
that a pesach sheni an individual could bring a korban, or that if the minority the tzibur could bring it.
Well, if it's is there a difference between an individual and a minority?
That's
apparently. I'm saying, but I don't think it is. It's just an individual. The tzibur itself is tumah. They're the minority, but the whole tzibur is still a tzibur that's betumah.
No, but the only heter is for a minority, right?
Correct, but I guess because they're a tzibur, they could be daicha.
But they wouldn't give the heter just for one individual.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's talking about it just an individual that's going to be daicha with the stomach.
Would we ever give a heter for one individual in the tzada?
For Pesach Sheni, maybe, yeah. I think that's the tzada. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Where would we learn that din from? Pesach Rishon doesn't allow that.
I don't know.
It's quite the stretch.
It's towards the bottom of the Taisus. Whatever. Let's finish. Let's go weiter, and then if we want to talk about this after, we could try and tell about this. But anyway, so the Tanna Kama holds that if you didn't bring the Pesach Rishon because you were tumah, so you're not going to bring the Pesach Sheni because you were tumah either. Rabbi Yehuda Amar Lach, Amar Kro, the pasuk says, "Kachol kul a Pesach Yasu." I say you're going to do the Pesach Sheni just like the Pesach Rishon. Bafilu betumah, even betumah. HaTorah chazira alav lasais betara. So the Torah is trying to make it that it should become that you should try and do it a Torah. Lo zacha yasana betumah. If you didn't do it betumah. Meaning if the person's tummy Pesach Rishon, so the Torah is going to try and find you a loophole that you could bring the korban Pesach a month later on Pesach Sheni. But if you didn't get there, say yasana betumah, then bring it betumah, right? Yeah. So that's the Machlokes. Fine. Okay. So let's see on Amud Beis. Yeah. So now we're back to the original question: is the power of the kohen on Yom Kippur a yachid or a tzibur? So typically the asher loy amar achmana, right? Rebbeinu, this is what you were talking about. If the pasuk says asher loy, it's his korban, right? Mishaloi who maybe, and he brings it from himself. The Tanya asher loy mishaloi who maybe v'loy mishal tzibur. He brings it from his own money. He doesn't bring it from the tzibur. Yachal lo yavi mishal tzibur. So now you would think that the reason why he doesn't bring the animal from his korban tzibur is from the tzibur's money is because the tzibur is not getting a part of it. It's only for the kohen gadol and the kohanim. It's not for the Klal Yisrael. But he should bring the money from his brothers. The kohanim should at least chip in because that par is coming for their forgiveness. Because his brothers are getting a kapara, that's why it says asher loy, that he still has to come, even though his brothers the kohanim are getting a kapara from this par, he's got to treat them. He has to treat them. He has to pay for it. So you would think it shouldn't come from the tzibur, but let's say he did bring it from the tzibur, so you would think it's kosher. Shuv asher loy. So it says asher loy again. There's 3 asher loys said in this parsha. Rashi says, right? So it says another asher loy, shana akasav alav la'akiv. So the Torah is telling you that it's ma'akiv, meaning he has to bring it from his own, right? So the bottom line is, right? This is what was the kasha that was discussed yesterday. So how could we call this par a korban tzibur if it's coming out of the kohen gadol's pocket? What greater definition of a private korban, a korban yachid, can you get than if he paid for it on his own private money? So then the Gemara says, and according to you, so his kohanim, ilav dekanu bigave heichim mechapelu. So if they're not being kohen of the animal, how is there a kapara for the kohanim if they're not chipping in? What are they just freeloading on the kohen gadol? How can they get a kapara if they didn't chip in? So ela shani begaza da Aaron. It's an interesting lashon there. That the begaza of Aaron, right? The ownership of Aaron, right? Meaning the kohen gadol, like we said yesterday, Aaron is just a representation of kohen gadol. Ela shani begaza da Aaron, the afkari rachmana gabi achav kohanim. that it's sort of like they were mafker the kohen gadol's money to his brothers the kohanim, right? So therefore, they're considered as part of his. Meaning he doesn't have control over it. His kohanim, his brothers the kohanim, are included in his korban financially, even though he's the one that's paying for it. So, hacha gabi tmura nami. One second. So hacha, let me just finish. Hacha gabi tmura nami. So by tmura also, we're going to say shani begaza da Aaron. It's different. The ownership of Aaron or the kohen gadols, the afker rachmana gabi achav kohanim. They made it hefker, right? So meaning memela, the other kohanim are considered shutvim. They're right. They're considered partners in this kohen gadol's korban, right? Any of the korbanos, right? So therefore, it's still going to be considered it's still can be considered a korban yachid, but it's somewhere in the middle. So so that was the Gemara shaila, which the Gemara doesn't really, right? I don't think we're coming out with an answer to the shaila, right? So it's somewhere in no man's land.
Then there's no tumura. Then there's no tumura on that.
Right, but we're not sure, right? That was the whole shaila. Do we look at it like a korban yachid, and it is like that there would be tumura or korban tzibur or not? So, right. So that's so it's not really the whole Gemara shaila is not answered, right? So what did somebody want to say? Somebody want to say something?
Yeah, what we were talking about before about his one person. Does one person mean just a person, or mean him and his wife as two people? So what's saying here when the kohen says vidui, he's saying for his family, right? The first vidui is for his family. So if he has if he's saying it's only his minor children, his adult children would have to give him money to be included in his vidui, or he counts as adult children in the vidui. We're just asking the second the second vidui about the other kahanim, but his adult sons are also kahanim. They can have their own families. They're not in his vidui, just as his small children.
I don't know. It's. I thought it's the kohen gadol and his family.
What's his family mean? That's what I'm asking.
I don't know.
The ones who are still in his wife, and the ones who eat on his shulchan, they would be included. They don't have to put money. They don't have their own money. But if he has adult sons, they would have they have to give him prutas. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless the heichal shulchan aviyah, maybe.
Well, that's what I'm asking. The ones who are.
So I don't know. Even if they are gadolim, if they're heichal shulchan aviyah, maybe that's considered ketana.
Right.
But Tzviyakov, also the lashon in the Gemara, the upgrade, the mafkir, the Torah is mafkir.
Right.
It's a funny lashon. It's not that they're sharing. It's that we're mafkir it.
It sounds like they mafker the kohen's money.
No, they mafker the kohen's chusim in this part.
Yeah. So Mamela, this part is considered like a shared.
Maybe they're zorchen it, they're sharing it, they're mafker it.
Yeah, that's otherwise. How does the money become the other kohen's that they have a chelik in the korban if it's not mafker?
Because he shares it with them. He gives them schusim in it. That's what I was saying yesterday. He's giving schusim.
Okay, I don't know. I'm saying, why is that better than mafker? I think hefker is pshat that he doesn't have a choice. Let's say this kohen gadol doesn't get along with everybody, which sounds like in the sheni could have been a very strong possibility, right? He doesn't get along with anybody. So can he say, okay, you guys don't have a chelik in my part? No, it's mafker. He don't have a choice. That's what I would think. He doesn't have a choice. It's al karchach, I think.
Can you be mezakeh something? Can you be mezakeh something to someone if you don't know that they exist?
Mastama not.
So you'd have to know every single kohen that is around in order to do that.
I don't know.
Hefker is the only way to do it. You can't do it without hefker. He can't. What's he supposed to do?
What's so hard, Gershon?
You can only be mezakeh something. It's like a davar shalei ba'al ha'olam.
the Gera Rebbe before the Milchama knew all his chassidim and all their families knew. So what's so hard for the kohen gadol?
Okay, Shkoyev, that's one svar. Well, Pipashtas, he didn't.
I'm saying, but we do this a lot, don't we?
He didn't live in
what?
Cleveland. He lived in New York. He knew everybody.
Okay.
I hear. I don't know how that works with the kinyanim. It's too complicated.
You can't be Mazakis something. You can't be mocking something to someone you don't know.
I don't think you're being
Yes.
mocked to anything.
Right. So that's the thing. Is this really a kinyan?
That's the thing. That's Afkare.
If I'm makdish, I don't think he is. The Gemara said yesterday, if I'm makdish of him for somebody else, the other person's not being koinit. It's going straight to hektish.
Yaakov, you do it for comments all the time.
There
Right,
is a
that's
din
what I was
Bailu.
wondering,
What are you
if that's
talking
a
about?
tusha, but there you're
He
not
owns
being
it? No, he
makna.
didn't. I gave it
You're
to
not being
hektish.
makna. You're doing it on his behalf, so that it's
I'm
zachar
makdish
ladin
for
shlevi
somebody's
kono.
behalf, so it's looked at as if it's the other person's, but it's not. The person was never koinit.
What do you
There
want to
is
say?
still a
Zachar
din
ladin
Bailu.
shlevi
Who needs
kono?
to?
But,
Who
but,
needs to?
but it's the same kasha you could have then. Why should there be din balas? It went straight to hektish.
Yeah.
Because the Torah says there's a din Bailu. So who needs
So
to
the
replace
Torah
it? If
says
it
the
gets,
bin dollars over here. What's the difference?
that we're not arguing about anything. That's what I'm saying. That's what the Torah is saying. It's not that the kohen gadol himself decides to be mezakeh someone. The Torah does it.
But I hear. I don't know. Okay, so let's see weiter. Yeah, Zok the Mishna. Hayu mahalach beheichal. So then, what's the next step? So now, how does the kohen gadol get from the heichal into the kodesh hakodoshim? So hayu mahalach beheichal. He would walk through the heichal, which is the outer room, right? Ad shemagil lebein shtei haparoiches and mavdilas bein hakodesh and bein kodesh hakodoshim, until he would get in between the two paroicheses that separated between the kodesh and kodesh hakodoshim, which we'll see in the Gemara exactly. Not tonight's Gemara, but tomorrow and the next day, how exactly that works. But there was two curtains, and each one had an entrance, one on one end and one on the other end. He walked into the curtain, then he walked through in between the curtains, and then out the other side.
So he's holding the Torah and the.
Yes, and you better hope that the coals don't get those curtains on fire. That's
Right,
what
so
you
I'm saying
wanted.
he's holding this while he's walking now, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
It was one amma in between the curtains.
With 3 feet.
Not that much, right? An amma is not that much.
You have this kohen with these huge or tiny hands, and he's fitting in between where?
Those fat Kohanim who did the Ketores, they weren't walking with this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
So
So anyway,
Yaakov,
Back,
is
back
this
to the
Mishnah only
skinny ones.
talking about the second base of Migdash with the paroiches?
yes. That's going to be a whole discussion in the Gemara in the next couple of blocks. Exactly what went on between the first base and the second base. A lot of history for what went on there. Anyway, so that's what. Yeah, this is the second base of Mikdash. Ubeinei and Amma, right? And between them there was an Amma, right? In between the two paroiches was an Amma. Rabbi Yossi Omer loy hoyse shom ela paroiches achas belvad. There was only one paroiches. There was no two paroiches. Shenemar vivdila haparoiches lachem bein hakodesh and bein hakodesh hakodoshim. It says and the kodesh separated between the kodesh and kodesh hakodoshim, even though that's talking about the Mishkan. That pasuk is not talking about the Beis Hamikdash, right? So anyway, but which we're going to discuss right now. So
It looks like the Tanakhama bavarned that already. When the Tanakhama says shtei haparoiches, not paroiches, there is no plural to the word. So how does that arise? If there's no plural to the word paroiches, how do you know that's one? It'll be 14.
I like that order.
If there's only one, how do you get in and out of the room?
Well, I mean, there's an opening. There'll be an opening.
So the kodesh gadol was open all the time? You could see right inside?
Oh, so that we're going to also see. Over the next few days, Bez Hashem, we're going to discuss this a lot. That's going to be a Machlokes, whether you could see inside, not inside. Yeah. Okay, so let's, so it says, it's good. Rabbi Yossi had a good taina. The pasuk says, paroiches, one paroiches. That's only in the Mishkan, like we just said. Sheni, but in the second base of Mikdash, since there wasn't the Amatraxin, which is a wall that was thick as an Amma, that was called the Amatraxin, that separated between the kodesh and the kodesh hakodashim. Uva mikdash rishon hu dahavoy, but it was in the base of mikdash rishon. V'stapkul rabbanon b'kedush say, and the rabbanon did not know what is the kedusha of the wall between the kodesh and kodesh hakodashim. Either kilafnim, is it considered like the kodesh hakodashim? Meaning, what's the status of the wall in between the kodesh and the kodesh hakodashim? Is it the kodesh? Is it like the inside, which means it's kodesh like the kodesh hakodashim, or kilachutz, or is it like the outside? So what they did is they made two paraychases. One, right, in between them was an amma of space, and that became like a no man's land. Right, that became a no man's land.
Regular kohen allowed to touch the first paraychas?
Yeah, because that was for sure. That's in the kodesh. That's not in the kodesh hakodashim.
Maybe that's part of the wall.
No, but that's why they made it an amma. They made the space an amma. So certainly that curtain, the inner curtain was for sure part of kodesh hakodashim. The outer curtain was definitely part of the kodesh. Right? So that's and then Tosfos has an interesting kasha. Tosfos says, why do you need the space for? Just make a curtain, right? So they didn't have the wall. They only had the wall in the first base of Mikdash. They didn't have the wall in the second base of Mikdash. Tosfos says so. Just make a very thick curtain that's an amma wide. Right?
Wouldn't you have the same issue? The reason they didn't build a wall in the second base of Mikdash because of the height. It would have been too narrow to hold the weight of the wall. It would have collapsed. Well, with an amma thick curtain, 100 ammas tall, what exactly are you hanging it on?
Yeah, but it's not going to be as heavy as bricks.
No, you still have to hang it from something.
I hear. I don't know.
The bricks can't stay up that high and so thin, as opposed to a curtain that you have like a curtain rod that'll hold it up.
I haven't seen the curtain rod that can hold up tons of curtain.
Okay, so that we could figure out, but the wall can't stand that high.
If there was any place that could, it's the base of Mikdash, right?
Yeah, then we can make another nice, no problem.
Right. Anyways, I don't know. That's Tosfos kasha. But the bottom line is they had to use a curtain by the second base of Mikdash. They had to use a curtain. They couldn't use the amatroxin, and then they didn't know what the status was. So therefore, they made two curtains, and it was an amma thick. And the kohen gadol walked in between those two curtains when he went to the kodesh hakodoshim and Yom Kippur. Fine. So Tana Rabbanon. Right. So Rabbanon, we have a brisa that says Bein hamizbeach lemenorah hayamalach. That the kohen gadol walked. How did he get in the heichal? Was a lot going on in the heichal. There was the mizbeach and there was the menorah. There was a shulchan. There was all sorts of stuff. So how did he walk? So he walked in between the mizbeach and to the menorah. That's how he walked towards the kodesh hakodoshim. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. That's shitas Rabbi Yehuda. Rameir Omer bein shulchan lemizbeach. No, he walked in between the shulchan, where the table where the shtei alechem was, and the mizbeach. Yesh Omrim bein shulchan lekaisel. And some say that he walked in between the shulchan and the wall, right? Because the shulchan was on the north side of the heichal, right? So you have the charts that make it easier. But the Gemara is going to go through this tomorrow or the next day, one of the two. Yeah. So there's three-way Machlokes how he walked through the heichal. So man yesh omrim, who's the yesh omrim? Right, meaning the third shita. So Amar Rav Chisda, Rabbi Yosi, it's Rabbi Yosi, the Amar, Pischa B'tzaf and Kai. The opening to the kodesh hakodashim was in the north. Right? But Rabbi Yehuda Amar Lach, and Rabbi Yehuda is going to tell you, Pischa B'darim Kai. The opening was in the south. Right? Meaning, which way, there had to be an opening in both curtains. Right? So you walked in the south side, then he walked all the way through in between the curtains, and then the opening in the kodesh hakodashim was the north side. That's Rabbi Yehuda's sheet, and Rabbi Yosi's sheet is the opposite. Right? Fine. But a mayor commands Svirulain. Who does Rabbi Meir go?
What happened to Kol Pinashat Tapaina here? Why wasn't it partially he walked to the north side?
Because he should turn to the right, because that's the way he was facing.
Yeah.
I don't know if did I see somebody ask that question? I don't remember. I thought somebody asked that. I don't know. Okay, so then the Gemara says, "Rameir command svirle." Who does Rameir hold like? Right, meaning we don't. So we know Rabbi Yossi holds that the opening in the curtain was in the north side. Rabbi Yehuda holds the opening in the curtain was in the south side. What about Rameir? Right, because Rameir held he walked right in between the shulchan and the mizbeach. Ik Rabbi Yehuda svirle nail Rabbi Yehuda. If he held like Rabbi Yehuda, then he should also go in the way Rabbi Yehuda says, which is between the mizbeach and the menorah. And ik Rabbi Yossi svirle, and if he held like Rabbi Yossi, and the opening is in the north, so then nail Rabbi Yossi, he should go like Rabbi Yossi, right? Which is between the shulchan and the mizbeach pnibi. So Gemara says, "La'olam Rabbi Yossi svirle." Really holds like Rabbi Yossi, right? And v'amar, and he's going to tell you that shulchanos tzofim v'darim munachin, that the shulchanos, that they were the extra shulchanos that Shlomo HaMelech put into the Beis HaMikdash, right? They were on the, what do you call it? They were put on the tzofim and the darim, the north and the south. U'masafka le shulchan v'loy masave. And I'm saying mafsikle the shulchan v'loy masave, and the tables are blocking, and we wouldn't be able to walk in. Right? We're going to see also later on that Shlomo HaMelech added on 10 tables and 10 menorahs into the Beis HaMikdash. Right? So Mamela, Rabbi Yossi is just saying simply in a simple equation that there's so many tables there that it's going to block the way. So therefore he couldn't walk through them. Or you could say, really, the tables were facing from east to west. So therefore they would not block it. And because of the Shechina, lav oirech aretz, not derech eretz. On to the next Amud, lemea lahedja. It's not derech eretz to go straight towards the door, right? Yeah. So what does that mean? Yeah. So because if he's going to walk straight along the north side, right, then he's going to end up seeing inside into kodesh hakodoshim, which he shouldn't do. Right, that's what Naftali. That's what you were worried about. So you look at the top. Rashi says if he's going to go with the north side and the entrance is by the north side. So when he's walking in the heichal, he's going to see straight into the kodesh hakodoshim, which is really he's not supposed to see in there. Right. So that's the way Rashi learns. That's why he shouldn't walk along the north side.
Is there a tiny gap between the first curtain and the wall? How is he seeing in? There's two curtains.
Well, no, he's going with the shita that's only one curtain now.
Oh, this is only one now.
Yeah, this is only one.
If Tziyakov, does that mean that Kehanim in general that are serving in the Mikdash could have seen in and they have to avoid looking in on a normal day? That means they have to avoid looking in because it seems like it's almost like it's not covered to look that long. So a regular kohen should also avoid looking.
So I was wondering, did they keep it closed? I mean, there was no reason to keep it open the whole year.
How would you close it?
Well, they peeled it back, right? That's what Rashi says. Rashi says, so, right? But I have no idea. I don't know if they kept it closed the whole year. I don't know. Yeah. So let's see. Rabbi Yossi Amarlach, what's Rabbi Yossi going to say to this? He says you do walk along the road. He doesn't have an issue. So he says, Chavivin Yisrael shalei yitzrichan hakosav l'shliach. Klal Yisrael so loved by Hashem that they don't need a shliach, right? Meaning every person could daven by himself. So therefore, since every person could daven by themselves, yeah. So then they're allowed to. He's allowed to look in because the Klal Yisrael is so loved. Yeah, so it's a very interesting Gemara. Saying Klal Yisrael is loved to Hashem, that Memela every person davens for themselves, which is taka what we do, right? Everybody davens for themselves, even though we do have a shliach tzibur if necessary, but that's that's an option, but everybody can daven for themselves. So Memela, the kohen gadol, who is representing Klal Yisrael, he's allowed full access. He could walk straight to the towards the kodesh hakodoshim and see inside. Right?
Is that vert that when we daven we're with the Shechina's here when we're davening? Therefore, there's no difference between the kohen gadol walking in or not.
That the Shechina is what?
When we daven, we're in front of the Kisei HaKavod. We're mamash there.
Right.
So there's now no difference between the kohen gadol walking in or not.
Mm-hmm.
Every yid can be by the Shechina. Is that what it's trying to say? The power of tefillah?
I don't know. That's what you have. Yeah, I would say something along those lines.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's a big thing. Fine. So then the Gemara says, "For Yehuda nami nail bein menorah l'kaisel." So according to Yehuda, why don't you go between the menorah and the kaisel? Right? Why should he go in between the mizbeach and the menorah? Go between the menorah and the kaisel. Yeah. So Meshachri Maneh. So Gemara answers no, because if he walks along the wall, I don't understand this teretz exactly. Since the walls of the Beis Hamikdash must have been black because it was near the menorah, right? Fire makes soot. Yeah.
We're talking about
so Mamela, he's going to get himself dirty if he walks along that wall.
What's bothering with Yaakov?
I'm saying I don't understand. He can't keep away from the wall. He's going to be walking.
Oh, they didn't clean it every day?
That's another question. Now, you would think it's the Beis Hamikdash.
It's the Beis Hamikdash. It's the
if they outsourced it, Rabar and Kaplan, then it depends on the vendor. You know what I mean?
Aaron Kaplan's there. He should be taking care of it.
Yeah.
So they did clean it every day. The problem isn't from the wall. The problem is the smoke that's coming off the menorah right now is going to blacken his gadol a tiny bit. You can't walk into the kodesh.
Get all clothing dirty. That means there's
a little bit. A little bit. You can't walk into the kodesh hakodoshim with dirty clothes. They have to be pristine.
He's going to be walking. I mean, okay, according to these sheets, we're going with the one curtain, right? But if he can't walk along the wall without getting dirty, how's he walking in between two curtains?
With cold.
No, he's walking right next to the menorah. There's an amma and a half between the menorah and the wall.
No, but it's Rashi.
No, it says from the menorah.
No, the menorah is getting the wall dirty, and he's going to get dirty from the wall.
That's not what Rashi says. The god of Machshirin me'ashana menorah.
Shash hishker es hakoisel.
Yeah, because that's what it does all the time. They clean it. Of course, they clean it every day.
Why does Rashi have to tell you shehishker es hakoisel for? What does that mean?
He needs a raya. That's somewhere. From somewhere, Rashi knows that it was machshir the kaisel.
Are you saying that
raya
that there was
smoke?
Right,
that there was smoke that came off. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I did not learn it like that.
What are you saying, Gershon? What are you saying?
He's saying that the menorah, because the menorah is lit all day. The menorah, the soot coming out of the menorah is going to make him black, not the wall.
How do you read that Rashi? The God of Machshirin.
Me'ashan ha-menorah. Shehishcher es hakoisel. That makes the wall black. So if it makes the wall black, it's going to make his clothing black too.
No, I think he's just going to be. I think he's just going to be rubbing against the wall, trying to avoid the menorah.
That's what I thought, but I hear Gershon's diak. Anyways, if anyone wants to sign up, we'll fit in.
If you go into the Sulitzer Rebbe, you'll see the where they daven. There was like the wood has been burned. Well, I'll show you later, Rabbi Stein.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that. I'm wondering about that.
We make a class trip. I'll show you class trip. Aaron can be.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, and Sulitz in the front of the Bismesh where they light the candles is black.
That looked like it actually went on fire.
That's
but if you think about a freedom where they have the metal thing on top, that looks, you know what I mean?
Okay, but you get the idea. Too close for comfort.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, we'll stop here so we'll continue tomorrow night. Bez Hashem. All right.
How did the kohen gadol get into the kodesh? Wasn't in the Mishkan there was a masach? Was there anything in the Beis Hamikdash?
What are you saying?
In the Mishkan, from the Azara to the kodesh, there was a masach. Was there anything between? I mean, it's a mitzvah in the Torah to make it. Was there anything like that in the Beis Hamikdash?
What do you? I don't understand. Do you want to make? You want to? What do you think? What happened?
I'm wondering how he came into the kodesh. How did he get into the kodesh from outside?
How did he get to the kodesh? Or he didn't walk through the doors?
There were doors. There was a curtain, and the Torah says there was a masach.
He walked right
There
to
were
the
doors to the
heichal,
ulam.
the kodesh. I don't get it. What's the question?
There were doors to the ulam. Was there a curtain to get into the kodesh?
No.
It was open.
I think so.
And the base in the
Didn't we say
Mishna there was a
before it's
masach.
open? We said it before it's open, that you can look in. You're able to look in.
We swear by the height
Yeah. You're able
from
to
the
look in
paraduma,
potentially.
burning the paraduma.
Correct. You're able to
It
potentially
said-
look in.
Yeah, potentially.
doors.
That means if everything's open. No, there were doors to the heichal.
Oh, you're asking, but apparently
The
they're
ulam
open.
had doors. What?
But they're open.
Yeah, if everything was open, he could see straight to the kodesh hakodoshim. He couldn't see the aron the kodesh hakodoshim when he burned the paraduma. He had to be theoretically able to see it.
So what? I understand. So what are you saying?
No, I'm just trying to figure out the from before, by my kasha before called Pina Shatapaina. If there was nothing there, then he could have walked in anywhere.
Right.
It sounds like somehow he walked in the middle and then made a turn somewhere. If there was a masach, if there was a curtain, he would have walked in one of the sides, presumably.
Right.
So then already he would be on the north side. He would have to make a left turn to walk next to the menorah.
I don't know. I don't remember where I saw this about the turning to the right. Maybe I didn't see it. Maybe I dreamt it up. Face nicht. I'm more concerned with Akiva's thing with this pesach sheni, with the being doicha the pesach sheni.
I was saying it. Doesn't it have to be? Well, okay. We had those crazy cases. You're gonna tell me this whole Machlokes here is about one of those crazy cases?
No,
we had
I thought
exactly half of Klal Yisrael was Tamei Sheretz, and then one woman was Tamei Mace. Can she add or not? Those cases. That was the only cases we had.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
You have Machlokes Tanoim about one of those cases, whether it's doicha.
Yeah,
it's a little far.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I didn't daven Ma'ariv yet, so I'm going to try and get at 10 o'clock, and I have to drive
Hasta
there.
mañana.
Yeah, now that we just learned that Hashem says he lets me daven, so each person good night might as well take advantage, right?
Well, it's much more even the Yechidus.
That's true. That is true. But, I hear that. Anyways, all right.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.